yoga of devotion. So in this context, I'd like to cite a few lines by Mirabai, whom we all consider and honor as Bhakt Shiromani, meaning that she is on a very, very high pedestal of love and devotion towards Krishna. So Mirabai has said, आजा मनमोहन मेरा मेड़तणी बोलावे आजा मनमोहन मेरा मेड़तणी बोलावे मेड़तणी बोलावे थाने दासी बुलावे दासी बुलावे आजा मनमोहन मेरा मेड़तणी बुलावे तुलसी की माला कंठी सेवा शालग्राम की जगत पसारा छोड़ा धूल लागी शाम की अमर सुहागण भागण राठौड़ों की जाई सासरियो बिहरियो दोनों तारियो मीराबाई भगवा उतारो मीरा राणो समझावे राणो समझावे आजा मनमोहन मेरा मेड़तणी बोलावे पाथर न काई पूजो यूं बोलो राणो सांची पाथर न काई पूजो यूं बोलो राणो ठाकर न जिमाओ जद सांची प्रीत जानो दूध रो कटोरो भर ल्याई मीरा बाई पियो मारा ठाकर थाने भक्तारी दोहाई दासी उदासी उबी श्री भगवान में श्री भगवान मीरारी गुहार सुन श्याम धनियायो दूध रो कटोरो हरी सारो गिट खायो मीरारी गोहार सुन श्याम धनियायो दूध रो कटोरो हरी सारो गिट खायो भगत मीरारी प्रतिज्ञा राखी भगवान ने राखी भगवान आजा मनमोहन मीरा मेरतनी बोला. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So now we would be starting on this ninth chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is actually a takeover from chapter 7, where Shri Krishna had started to explain what is the concept of true knowledge and true knowledge which is accompanied by science. And Krishna had explained that what true knowledge consists. True knowledge consists of understanding decisively, without any slightest doubt, that Krishna is the primary cause, Krishna is the original cause of the creation of all living creatures. This is the true knowledge. And to experience within oneself, to understand deeply that without Krishna, there is no other sentient power in the world. And in fact, nothing whatsoever in the world even has an existence outside of Krishna. This is called, this understanding and this experience is known as science. So the true knowledge accompanied by science that has been given by Krishna, this name that it is Raj Vidya, Raj Guhya Yoga. This is the true knowledge, and once a person attains it, its fruits are immediately visible, and the person who has once grasped this true knowledge never ever loses sight of it. This is what he is going to explain. The second verse of chapter 9, please. सेकंड हाँ सेकंड ही है मेरे में तो सेकंड है right. So this knowledge accompanied by science, true knowledge accompanied by science, that was the major topic of conversation in the seventh chapter. But the main motive was became dormant for some time due to the questions put up by Arjun. Krishna has answered all of Arjun's questions in chapter 8, as you have just been listening. And now, at the beginning of chapter 9, without any prompting from Arjun, Krishna is simply resuming the topic of Raj Vidya, Raj Guhya Yoga. So in second shlok, Krishna is saying, Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam Pavitramidam Uttamam Pratyakshamavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartumam Jayam. This knowledge, accompanied with realization, is the sovereign among all the sciences. And all the mysteries. It is supremely holy, of the greatest eminence, and its fruit is also directly perceived. It is the essence of religion, prevails forever, and is very easy to practice. That is very easy to attain. So what it amounts to, Rajvidya Rajguhya Yoga, that means it is the sovereign knowledge among all the knowledge systems of the world. And Rajguhyam, that means it is the secretmost knowledge in the world. Therefore, Krishna has called it Rajguhyam, the king of all the mysterious knowledge of the world. It is supremely holy, Pavitramidam, and it is Uttam, it is greatest, of greatest eminence, and its fruit is directly perceivable. Sovereign knowledge of all, because nothing else remains for a striver to learn after he has learned this true knowledge accompanied with realization or accompanied by science. In other words, it is called science. So once a person grasps it, there is nothing else for him to know in this world. That's why it is called the sovereign knowledge. And Krishna's form, which is having shape and attributes, it is that form which is having special glory. This is something which Krishna reveals at several places in Gita. That although Krishna has so many forms, so many dimensions, so many different incarnations, but it is Krishna's Sagun Sakar Madhurya Roop, which is having two arms. It is called Dvibhuj Manav Roop, which has the primary importance and which has the greatest of glories. Krishna describes this knowledge accompanied by realization as the greatest secret of all. Now, during incarnation, what happens is that Krishna takes the form of a human being. He looks, talks, acts just like a human being would do, and his arms are also only two. And therefore, those people who do not have that innate belief and faith in Krishna, they like to judge him by saying that he is just like other mortals. He's just like any other person who is born of a woman. That is how they think about Krishna. Whereas Krishna has clarified even in chapter 4 that his birth and his actions are not like the actions of men. His birth is not like birth of people, like birth of all other living creatures, but it is the appearance which happens in front of the mother. That is what happens in Krishna's case. So we'll move on to uh, next verse, which is perhaps 10. So here Krishna is revealing, O son of Kunti, under my supervision, nature brings into being the whole creation, both animate and inanimate. Thus, the world undergoes various changes. Like the task of creating endless universes has been delegated by Krishna to his apara prakriti, that is his insentient lower nature. He delegates the task, and the insentient nature, apara prakriti, performs its task with the best of its powers, and it is a very, very powerful entity. After Krishna himself, it is nature which is the most powerful entity in the world, but nature's power comes from Krishna, and Krishna power comes from also Krishna. That's the difference only. So he has delegated the task, and my apara prakriti, my insentient nature creates all the universes, brings into being the whole creation, both animate and inanimate, the moving and the non-moving, both the creations come into being through the action of my insentient nature. And because my nature, this apara prakriti, is ever changing, therefore, in this world, which has been created by apara prakriti, it is always every time changing. It has taken on the attributes of the mother nature, which has created it. And so, this world, its things, its people, its circumstances, etc., are changing all the time. Next. Well, I'd like to share one example with you in this, that there are so many machines which we are using in our everyday life, and um, so many activities are taking place by means of those machines, like freezing of ice, running of trams, um, going going up and down of the lift, and the heaters. heaters generating heat into the room, etc., etc. So many activities are there being performed by machines. But would those machines be able to perform any of those activities unless they were connected to a power source? We may be having any number of gadgets and machines. We may be using many, getting into many gadgets, many machines. But the machine is not going to work unless it's connected to a power source. And similarly, the creations of nature, the things created by nature, the persons, the bodies created by nature, the actions, the experiences, etc. Nothing is going to work unless it gets energy from Krishna. Just like electricity is having a lot of power, but that power reveals itself by the means of different gadgets and machines. Similarly, Krishna's powers are infinite, but Krishna's powers are revealed and exhibited through the objects, through the world which has been created by the insentient nature. Now, the world undergoes various changes due to the ever changing nature which has created the world. A seed, a very tiny seed, can grow up into a sprout, into a plant, and finally into a tree. A child can become a man, and a child can become older, a mature person. So, similarly, rivers start in a very small way at their source and then go flowing down into and merge into the sea. Those are the changes which are forever taking place in nature. Carry on. Next. No, you will get I'll get it. Yes. So, in 11th verse, Krishna has said, I needed the 11th verse, whereas I have received 21st. I needed 11th. It was a little important, I thought. In the 11th verse, Krishna has told that he is the source of all power. He is the creator of infinite universes. He is the person who is supervising and is responsible for the uh, progress of this world, and he is the ultimate controller. And this is done by Krishna in his manifest form. Manifest form, which is having attributes, that is Krishna's Sagun Sakar form, is performing all these actions. So he says that this Sagun Sakar form is completely free from distortion and changes. It is causing all the changes which are happening in the world, but itself, it remains unassailable and imperishable. It is foolish persons, the foolish men who do not know this reality about me, that even though it is I who am causing all the changes in the world to happen, I have originally created the world, caused the world to be created, and I am running the whole world. They do not know these facts about me. And because when they look at me, they see a human resembling form. So they just think that I am a mortal like other mortals, and As other mortals get their human birth or get their life form, I have also received this life form due to my actions of previous lives. Whereas Krishna, who has created all the laws, all the rules, or the dispensation, divine dispensation, he is beyond all laws and he does not have to answer for whatever actions he does. Because in any way, Krishna's actions are always the actions of a karma yogi, which are beyond the scope of punishment, reward or punishment. The next is the okay. I got the 11th one finally. I will just do a reading of it. Fools disregard me, not recognizing my sovereign divine entity, which rules over all living creatures, but rather considering me as an ordinary mortal, dependent upon the human body. We have already discussed. Let me have the next one, please. In comparison and contrast with the person who possesses the true knowledge and realization about Krishna, the foolish and ignorant people deluded by Maya, they think of Krishna just as an ordinary mortal. This is what Krishna is explaining. And now in the 21st shloka, Krishna says, Te tam bhuktva swarlokam vishalam Shine punye martyalokam vishanti evam trayi dharmamano prapanna gata gate kam kama labhanti. Having enjoyed the pleasures of the extensive heavenly world, they return to the world of mortals when their stock of their holy actions is exhausted, thus taking recourse to action with interested motive, enjoined by the three Vedas, and seeking worldly enjoyments. They remain caught in the cycle of birth. It is those people, not the people who are Krishna devotees, not the people who have gained the true knowledge about Krishna, but those people who are having unlimited means. Means, always means, usually means money and every other kind of power which money can buy. So these are the people who are having unlimited means, and they are also highly intelligent. I mean, their brain functions very well, so they are able to educate themselves in all the Vedas. They can hire any number of Shastris, Pandits, and all those knowledgeable people to teach them everything. And their desires are totally concentrated within the entities of this world. They are desiring everything possible, the highest pleasures which this earth has to offer. And when they read the Vedas, the Vedas are containing incredibly beautiful descriptions of the kind of places which the heavens are and the kinds of enjoyments which are available to the devtas or the demigods who are residing in the heavens. And reading those descriptions, such men having superior intelligence, special intelligence, they become attracted towards them and they want to experience those also. And you know that not only our earth, but the seven hells and the seven heavens all are part of this material universe, this bhautik lok. So now they want to go to heaven also, and they are able to rise to heaven because they are able to earn so many good deeds by performing all the rituals, all the yagyas, all the pujas which are prescribed by the shastris which are performing for them. It's not that one individually performs. and everything has been performed, all that stock of good deeds has risen to such a level that these people are able to rise to heaven, even to the highest of the heavens, to Brahmalok, which is the highest of heavens. They are able to reach there and they stay there and they enjoy all possible enjoyments and pleasures which we humans are ignorant of. We are ignorant what are those pleasures. But yes, some few of them we are known to us. The people residing in heavens don't ever experience old age. Their appearance doesn't change. They remain beautiful, handsome, healthy forever, and so on. So anyway, so they enjoy all the pleasures of the heavens, but still they are compelled to return to this mortal world when their stock of good deeds is exhausted. Like money in our Swiss banks. Once the account is exhausted or it is nearing exhaustion, now we cannot any longer enjoy all the amenities which we bought by that. So when their stock of good deeds is being depleted after that, they have to return to the mortal world because heavens are not their true and permanent home. Their true and permanent home is the Dham of Krishna, the resident planet of Krishna, which is called Golok Vrindavan. So again, they have to return to earth, maybe not even in human form, maybe in some other life form, until they again receive human form, and then again they are enabled to work towards getting salvation or getting Krishna. So even going to the heavens doesn't solve the purpose of human life. In fact, it is it has been pointed out by Swamiji as well as Prabhupada ji that it just constitutes a lot of wastage of time. Just going to all those heavens, rising to heavens, enjoying everything. So what? Finally, you have to clear your account with Krishna. And for that, you have to descend to the mortal world. Next, please. Ananyashchintyanto mam. Ye jana paripasati. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogishimam bhamya. You must be remembering LIC today, who is whose logo is Yogishimam Bhamya. Now Krishna is telling his devotees about his devotees that for my exclusive devotees, Ananya Bhakta, for my exclusive devotees who worship me wholeheartedly, thinking of none but me, to those devotees who are constantly engaged in me, whose mind, whose emotions, and whose all attitudes are centered within me, to them I provide both gain and security. That is, I give them yoga, shema. Yoga means Yoga means to provide them with those things which they are lacking. And shame means kushal. Kushal, that is security. I also provide them security of whatever they do possess. Whatever they are possessing, I keep it safe for them. And whatever they do not have, I endow them with that. But with one proviso, of course, that it's those things which they possess or which they want to possess, they should be for their spiritual upliftment. It should be for their real benefit, not just to fulfill any arbitrary desire. And it is Krishna who decides whether this desire needs to be fulfilled or doesn't need to be fulfilled, and his devotee never questions whether Krishna fulfills his expressed or unexpressed desire or no, the devotee always remains in continuous adoration of Lord Krishna. Next, यहाँ पे तो मेरे को कुछ बताना ही पड़ेगा. Sorry, sir. I have to cite the incident of Narsingh Mehtaji. Yeah, because like the way Krishna has said that I give my Ananya Bhakta, my unfaltering devotee, I give him that yoga shame. So I just can't, wipe it from my mind. The case of Narsi Mehtaji, who was Prabhu's, one of the highest devotees. And everyone must have heard about Nani Bahiro Mahiro at least. So, Narsi ji received so much of wealth, so much of anything which was needed in his family, which was needed by him, so many times. But he was such a person who never cared for anything, any worldly wealth, that every time he received lots of hoards of gold from Krishna, he just finds them in feeding devotees, in feeding holy men, serving holy men, saints, etc. And he himself remains impecunious, without money. And because his brother scolded him for not coming to help in his father's this thing. What is it called? Um, Shrad. Shrad. I don't even know the term. What is called it? What it's called? Anyway, so it is something puja to be performed every year on the day of father's expiry, and lots of pandits are invited for it. Narsiji gave invitation to all the pandits of 7 villages. That means thousand, more than 1,000 pandits were invited to Shrad. Narsiji not having a penny, not having anything in his house, no materials also. So came home and told his wife, and she said, "All right, so please make the arrangements, give me the stuff so that I am able to prepare." It is next day only, and in the evening he has come and told her. So next day he sets out in the morning with some canisters, etc., for bringing oil and ghee, and he goes to a grocer's shop. He tells him, "They give me huge quantities of rice, flour, and everything." So he refused. That grocer refused, said, "Narsiji, you already have such a huge account with me and you have not been paying me for so much long time, and now I can't give you any more stuff. Without payment, you bring the rokra, then I will be giving." So Narsiji, having nothing, he went away from his usual shop, and now he met another grocer who was having shop nearby. Now, as he passed that shop, that man fell at his feet, greeted him, and told him, "Narsiji, I'm so very fortunate. In the morning, I have had your darshan. And please, Narsiji, sit down and just sing one bhajan of yours for me." He just requested him like this. And Narsiji, what does he want in life? All he wants is that somebody tells him that you don't care for anything else. You just sit down here nicely and you sing bhajan. Narsiji is the very pleased, he sat down. And after that, there is no end to this session. Because neither that person is tired of listening, nor Narsiji is tired of singing the praises of the Lord. From morning till evening, the process is just continuing. Narsiji has totally forgotten what he has come to this shop for. Though that man told him that, "Narsiji, just give me one bhajan, after that I will give you, I will fill your dabbas, I will fill your canisters, I'll give you everything you want." But now they have both forgotten. That man is so much lost. Now, since the evening shadows begin to fall, Narsiji remembers what was the task for which he had left his home on such a day, that it is my father's Shraddh and I have come to purchase the groceries and other things. Now he remembers. But then in his case, somebody had already remembered, and somebody had had a discussion with Akrurji. Akrurji is the person whom Krishna has allocated responsibility. in his case, Narsi says. So he reached home now, Narsiji, is sort of looking very much down and out and having those canisters with him. Everything goes home and says that look, Manik Gauri calls her, but she doesn't come out. Says, look, I brought these canisters empty because by now, of course, the people must have gone away. Everyone who came. Manik Gauri still did not come outside running. So he goes inside and sees that she is sitting in a corner of the kitchen. She's having her food. Now he's really puzzled. He says that my wife is, for every day of her life, at every meal time of my life, this female has been serving me first and giving me everything, best of everything. And after I have eaten, then she eats in the thali which I have left. Now, how she is eating when I have not eaten? Manik Gauri told them, Are, where are you coming from at this time? I thought you had gone to rest. I had served you the food. After all the Brahmins went away and you worked so hard today and you are looking so handsome and you were serving all the Brahmins so much of enthusiasm. I was so happy to see everything and everything was so nicely prepared. And then I finally, after all the Yajmans had left, now I was giving you this Yajman. nahi. After all the Brahmins had left, now I was giving you, I gave you your meal. And I'm eating in your thali. Now Narsiji understood whom Manik Gauri had served that day, thinking that he is her husband, and whose thali it is, in which she is having food. What a fortunate woman she is. This is how God looks after the vicissitudes which appear in the lives of his devotees. Just deals with them and without showing anything. Jatana, that is something which is totally absent from Krishna's style. Next, please. Yeah, आ गया है ना next. In 923, Krishna is saying, O son of Kunti, even those devotees who with faith worship other gods, in reality, they also worship me, though not with a proper approach. After all, Krishna, okay, this has not as yet been covered. So here Krishna is saying that there are many people who are attracted and attached towards other divine entities like Bhagwan Shankar, Shakti Mataji, Durga Shakti, and Lakshmi Ji, Ganesh Ji, and many other such divine entities. They are devoted to them, Saraswati Ji, and they consider them as having independent powers. They consider them sort of as rivals of Krishna. That okay, Krishna is one of them, Krishna is also there. And we can always choose whether we want to prostrate ourselves before Krishna or we want to prostrate ourselves before Lakshmi Ji or before Saraswati Ji or before Ganesh Ji. It is our choice. And whatever we want to happen to desire at that time, we will be naturally performing obeisance towards those powers which are able to fulfill our desire. If we want a lot of education, arts and all, then Saraswati Ji will have to be worshipped by us. If we want wealth, we'll have to go to Lakshmi Ji. And so on and so on. So Krishna is saying that those people who having faith in the other gods and not knowing about me, being unaware of my reality, they are worshipping the other gods. In reality, they are also worshipping me, but they are unaware of it. Because the worship which is being given to the people on a lower level, that also finally has to go to Krishna. The worship goes to Krishna because it is Krishna who provides the demigods with their special powers. He has provided because of Krishna's grace, because of Krishna's capacity, the devotees' desires are fulfilled by the demigods. And therefore, the demigods offer up whatever worship they receive, they are offering up to Krishna. So the worship is reaching Krishna anyway. But these guys who are giving that worship, these human beings, they are unaware. And they are thinking that I am giving my worship even only to this person, only to this demigod. So people, uh, these people, uh, the people who have undivided devotion towards Krishna, they are the Ananya Bhaktas. Whereas these people who consider themselves as the deciders of who is the God and who is the most proficient and who is the most powerful, these people are ignorant fools. But anyway, they are still worshipping me, but without a proper approach, that is not having the right process. The file is anyway coming to me, but they are not sending it through the proper channels. Next, please. I am verily the recipient and Lord of all sacrifices. But they, the ignorant, do not know me in essence, and hence they fall into lower worlds. The people whose focus is on fulfillment of their worldly desires and who attain the fulfillment of those worldly desires by prostrating themselves before the demigods, those people do not reach me, they do not attain me, and they do not even attain salvation. Salvation means to be liberated from the recurring cycle of birth and death in this Dukhalaya world. So they neither attain salvation nor they attain me, but they only fall into lower worlds, means hell. Such people go to hell. Next. In the worship of most of the demigods, there are some very special rules. There are quite a number of rules, and there are quite a lot of materials which are involved. You have to get together this, that, and other materials. The learned person whom you are consulting, that Pandit, he will be giving you a list. Many of the things you are not even able to identify. Finally, he will say that you bring these things, this part of the list, and the rest I'll take care. You can make the payment. So that's how it happens. So he says that there is, he's not saying this, this is implied that in worship of demigods, many processes are involved, many materials are involved, many rules have to be observed. And if you make a mistake, then the demigod or the divine power there, he can also become angry at you. Whereas in the worship of Krishna, there is no such fear because Krishna evaluates the attitude of his devotee. He does not evaluate how much money that person is spending, how much energy or time that person has spent, and how many people he has involved. No. For Krishna, what is important is that inner feeling, that inner unconditional devotion of the person. And there a person can't go wrong. A person who has developed that sort of devotion. And Krishna says, my devotee need not offer me, loads of wealth or loads of materials. No. If he just gives me a tulsi leaf, just brings a flower for me. When he sees that flower, he remembers me and he brings that flower to please me. Or he gives me a fruit or just a drink of water. I'm happy, and I not only accept those things which are offered by my devotee who has given it with love, because that is the essential thing. That is the magic formula. That love, that unwavering love, and that desire to please Krishna. He has given me those very ordinary things, something which we can get anywhere. We are going by the roadside and we see a beautiful tree with very shining leaves and we pick up a leaf. How easy it is. But Krishna, because of the love in which they are wrapped up, because of that, Krishna is placing a lot of value on them. He says, मैं उनको खा लेता हूँ. This is what he says. I accept those devout offerings of such a devotee. In the Hindi translation, Krishna has said, I eat them. The खा लेता हूँ. Next. O son of Kunti, Krishna is addressing Arjun. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give in charity, whatever you do by way of penance, dedicate it all to me. It means that there, in Krishna, there is no expectation even of those small, and in money terms, those totally valueless gifts, which he has mentioned earlier, that even if my devotee brings those things for me, I accept it. He is now going one step further and he's saying that you don't even need to do those special activities for me. I will be so much pleased if whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give in charity, whatever you do in by way of penance, simply all you have to do is to bring about a change in your attitude. Simply you have to dedicate all your activities to me. Whatever you happen to be doing at that time, every moment of the day, whatever you happen to be doing, dedicate it all to me. Whether you are having your meals, whether you are just wandering around here and there, you are walking, you're sitting, you're standing, whether you are engaging in charity, whether you are engaging in penance, that is your tap, whether you are uh, whether you are performing yajna, whatever activities you are doing, whether they are your natural activities or whether they are your holy activities, dedicate them. Arpan. Again, the motive of Arpan appears here. And it is something which Krishna has begun to tell Arjun even in the third chapter, where he already talked about Arpan of all your kartavya karma, all your prescribed holy duties. You should simply dedicate them to me. That is what he had said. And again, he is reiterating this, that the way for you to reach me, to attain me, the way for you to fulfill your goal in this human life form, that is simply to surrender and dedicate every action to me. And that also means, by implication, it also means that every time you would be having memory of me, because when you're offering everything to me, naturally you will be thinking of me at all times. Next, please. And now look at this stupendous declaration of Krishna. I don't think in any of our scriptures, in any of our other holy books, or in the sayings of saintly people, you would find such a dispensation which Krishna is giving over here. He is saying, even if the vilest sinner worships me with exclusive devotion, he should be considered a saint from that moment onwards. For he has rightly resolved to be my devotee. He has rightly resolved. Means he has executed this resolve. He has undertaken this resolve very well, very firmly, and with true faith. And if this person was even the worst of the sinner to beat all the sinners, even if he was so vile, even that person, if he worships me with exclusive devotion, due to any reason whatever, it is not that a man who has been earlier in his life engaged in evil actions, he can never reach Krishna. No, it is not so irrevocable as that. Krishna is too merciful to let his living creature burn in the fires of hell, if at all he can do something to turn that man's attitude, change that man's attitude. And so he's promising that even if the vilest of the sinners, the most evil of the sinners, starts worshiping me, makes a decision to stop his evil actions forever, and he is going to, from now henceforward, he is going to be engaged in my worship. From that moment, he should be considered by everyone as a saint, as a Mahatma. In that moment, he becomes a Mahatma. So, I mean, what an instance of Krishna's mercy and forgiveness is there. That there is always a chance for you. And in 8th chapter also you have seen, you have heard that Krishna has promised uh, attainment of Krishna to that person who at the very last moment, when he is just about to, the spirit is just about to leave the body, even if you remember me finally at that moment, which you have never done before in your life, if never before in your life you have remembered me, you have just crossed the entire journey, now you are at journey's end. And even at this time, for whatsoever reason, you remember me. But it should be with a true feeling. And of course, it should be coming from inside. So if there, not just saying Krishna's name without any emotion or any belief attached to it. Even at that time, if you remember me, you will be receiving the fate which awaits my devotee. Like that, you will go to my Dham, you will go to Golok Vrindavan. Yes. ये तो हो गया है, अब इसके बाद मेरे में तो 31 है. अच्छा, मेरे में तो अभी 31, 32, 33 तीनों है. ओके फाइन. सो वील बी वाइंडिंग अप विद 34. 34 प्लीज. दे दिया तुमने, दे दिया. उन्होंने भी दे दिया. So the last verse which we are selecting from the 9th chapter, and that also means I'm giving up one of the stories which I wanted to share today. Because those slokas were accompanied by one story also. So anyway, now we are winding up with the last verse, in which Krishna gives the total formula to Arjun, how to attain Krishna. He's telling, fix your mind on me, be devoted to me, adore me, prostrate yourself to me, thus making yourself steadfast in me and entirely surrendering to me. You will reach me alone and no other. Krishna alone, the highest, the supreme, the sovereign divinity. Fix your mind in me means your mind should be forever thinking about me. And man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskur mame vaishyasi yuktvevam. Atmanam Matparayana. So that total formula is there. Place your mind in me, fix your mind in me, become my worshipper. Become the person who is performing all the rituals and all the holy acts concerned with upasana. Do my upasana and adore me with all the strength, with all the strength of your belief, faith, and your love. Adore me. Think of the glories, think of my glories all the time. Sing out my praises and prostrate yourself. To prostrate yourself before me means to perform pranam, sashtang pranam before the vigraha of the Lord. And not only these words imply that a person should be performing namaskar, a person should be performing pranam before Krishna's vigraha. It also implies that uh, prostrating yourself before me also implies that whatever circumstances you receive in your life, you remain happy with those circumstances. They may not be favorable to you, they may be adverse circumstances also. Whether favorable circumstances or adverse circumstances, through all the circumstances, you should thank for all of them. You should be thankful to me and believe with all your heart that they are all a part of my divine and merciful dispensation. This is the advice which Krishna gives to Arjun, whom he loves so much that he has spent so much of time trying to lift Arjun out of his condition of severe depression and make him fit to fight again. So here we are at the end of chapter 9. The next section is in offering. And if anyone has to place any questions, has to ask any questions, this is the time to ask. अगर प्रश्न नहीं है तो हम फाइंड अप करेंगे.
5 minutes complete for drinking water and
then next session will be.
so the short session.
Sir, I would have covered those 3 shlokas. With a 5-minute break तो हम नहीं हुई ले.
Not being given that time is over.
Yeah, sure. I realize.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.